Oh, a little poison to kick things off. And if you guys ever question my love for 80s rock and roll, you can see it right there. That's my dad, the late, great Johnny Smash from Smash Alley. Long story, but that's where it comes from. All right, so let's kick this off for Toxic Toss Thursdays. Let's turn this down a little bit, although I would never want to turn my poison down because I love it, love it, love it. But let's turn it down a little bit because we have a great topic today. If you guys joined us last week, you knew that today we are talking about if candles, scentsies, plugins, if they are making you sick and why they might be making you sick. And I apologize if I look off where I'm looking. I'm trying this new layout with my phone here, so stick with me with it. Okay, so we're going to be talking about if they're making you sick, why they're dangerous, and what things could be happening, right? Some things right now and some things down the line that I'm sure you don't want to happen. So let's just see where everybody's at. Give me a 1 if you're somebody that uses candles. So if you're somebody that uses candles, you know, you've got them going, give me a 1. Give me a 2 if you use those scentsies, right? The wax melts, you put them on, they're burning, the smell's going, right? Sometimes people think, well, it's a little safer because it doesn't have the candle going with the flame, but you've got that. And then give me a number 3 if you're someone that likes the plugins, the Glade plugins, whatever. And then a number 4 if you're somebody who uses all of them, right? So a few years ago, guess where I was at? A number 4, right? I used all of them. And I actually thought that when I had my kids and I was pregnant, this is the crazy thing, and you'll see why. I thought I was doing a better job as a mom because I was using the scentsies and the plugins, right? Because I thought, well, that's better. That's not a flame in case my child was to grab that from the candle and maybe catch on fire or something crazy like that. I thought this was better, right? This was better to have this type of a smell in my house and have it smell so great. Okay, so number 1, candle user. Number 2, Scentsy user. 3, plug-in user, and 4 if you're using all of them. And again, it's okay. We all start somewhere, right? The saying, I always say it, when you know better, you do better, and it's so, so true. Okay, so let's get down into it. So, are you somebody, or maybe you know somebody that suffers from migraines, suffers from headaches, respiratory issues, asthma, maybe just some brain fog going on, right? You can't concentration. And then even things like a lack of libido just going on, right? Is that happening to you or happening to someone you love? Now, did you know that it actually could be coming from those candles, the scentsies, the plugins? Why? Because of the toxic chemical that's in them called fragrance. Now, there are other chemicals going on in many of these products that are mainstream today. However, I want to just stick with fragrance because that to me is like number 1, and it's just a loophole for so many things. So that's pretty scary, right? That you could be having all of these issues and it's something that you did to yourself, right? You allowed it into your home. So let's jump into it. So the number 1 toxic hidden chemical in all of these things, we just talked about that, is fragrance, right? So let's explain fragrance. So fragrance is a loophole for hundreds of thousands of chemicals. The trademark companies, they don't have to tell you what fragrance is and what's in it because that's their secret, right? That's their secret smell. They don't want you to know what it is. They don't want you to steal their secret ingredient and then to know their scent, right? So synthetic scents or fragrance, they represent an unidentified mixture of ingredients, and they could include carcinogenics, allergens, respiratory irritants, endocrine disruptors, neurotoxic chemicals, and environmental toxins. And in general, there are at least 3,000 ingredients that could possibly be used to form the product scent, right? That fragrance. And that's just according to the online transparency list that is put out by the International Fragrance Association. It's an industry trade group. So tons of stuff, right? And you have no idea what those chemicals are. But just knowing something that could be a carcinogenic, do you want to be smelling that, or something that could be causing respiratory issues? And then knowing, gosh, so-and-so in my family has asthma. I wonder what's going on there. I've got these constant headaches going on, and it's a neurotoxic chemical. You know, you got to think about that. So we mentioned some of the problems above, right? The headaches, the migraines, respiratory issues, asthma, brain fog. Those are some of the minor issues, right? I mean, they can be deliberating for some people, but those are minor. But what about the serious problems? What about the things, and this is true, this is what fragrance is linked to. You can look this up online. Serious problems like cancer, childhood autism, brain defects, birth defects, ADHD. That's pretty crazy, right? And what's really crazy is that we allowed it into our own home, right? Right? We allowed this into our own home. So what can you do? Well, if you're like me, when I learned about this chemical, I immediately threw all of that stuff out into the garbage can. It just went into the garbage can, didn't get donated, didn't get put in a garage sale, didn't give to anybody for anything. And it was crazy. I had actually made a post, this was a couple years ago, and I showed a bunch of different items that had fragrance in it, and I said I was throwing these out because after learning that they can lead to things like cancer, not going to happen in my house no more. People actually responded, why don't you donate that? Why don't you give that to like women's shelters, right? Places like that. But here's the thing. When you know better, you do better, right? I know better. I know what those toxic chemicals do. So why would I want to pass that on to somebody else? I just wouldn't want to do that, right? So don't allow it into your home. You are the gatekeeper of your own home, and you are the only one that allows what comes into that door, right? And this is crazy. So listen to these stats, and these come right from the American Cancer Institute. So I don't know if you guys know this, but 90% of cancer-causing cases, guess what? They're under our control. What does that mean? We did it to ourselves. Only 5 to 10% of all cancer-causing cases are caused by genes, right? Being passed down. So think about it. Think about how many people are using these products with fragrance in them, and they have got them going all day long in their houses, right? And not just people in their houses. I mean, a lot of places you go into, they have them going, right? Because everybody thinks, oh, but it smells so good and it's got to smell good. Let me tell you, when you go chemical free, that stuff stinks. It stinks. You will smell the chemicals. You won't just smell the cherry blossom, whatever. You will smell the chemicals. So, okay, what can you do, right? What does my family do? Obviously, you guys knew this was coming. I'm probably sure some of you already know what my family does, but what we use in our house instead as a non-toxic solution, if we want to have smells, is a diffuser. Diffusers are a great way to get the smells, and not only just to get the smells, but they do so many things that are actually good for the body rather than harming the body. So diffusers are awesome. This is one from Young Living. Take the top off. There's a fill line where you'd put the water in. You'd fill that up. Then you take an essential oil. Got some brain power sitting over here at my desk for when I'm doing work. So you'd put your drops of oil in, you'd put the top back on, and you'd turn it on. Voila. Real easy. Has a plug. Okay, so this is easy because it's non-toxic, right? And not only can you just use it for smells, like I mentioned, but you could use it for other things. Emotions, right? Purifying the air, boosting the immune system. That's huge right now. A restful night's sleep, and so much more. That's just a couple things. So it smells good, and you're getting a benefit. Win-win. I would take this any day over the other stuff, which could lead to harmful things. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you learned something new today. And again, you'll put it into action because again, when you know better, you do better. So let's wrap this up. Next week, February 1st, I'll be getting on here for Toxic Toss Thursday. And we will be talking about an all-natural immune boosting tea that is perfect for this time of year. So I'll be sharing how to make that, sharing the recipe right now. What right now? Right then? Mom brain. Gosh, that's always happening, right? So join me then. Thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll talk to you later.